Good morning, everyone. Innovation and technology play important roles to drive sustainability in all aspects of development and help create balance in the key areas of environmental, social, and governance or ESG. In the recent Sustainability Expo SX 2022 at Queen Sirikit National Convention Center or QSNCC in Thailand, under the theme Good Balance, Better World, we had great opportunity to invite our technology partners to show their highlighted solutions for sustainability within the area of tech group ecosystem. Without further ado, we will meet with 7 leading global tech partners. Kun David Kodre, Sustainable Lead, SAP Southeast Asia. Kun Wisut Methi Suvakun, CMO Lead, Microsoft Thailand Limited. Kun Sarut Asawakun, Solution Architect, Tencent Cloud. Kun Jürgen Koppens, Managing Director, Sustainability Lead, Southeast Asia, Accenture. Kun Anothai Wetayakon, Vice President, Dell Technologies, Asia Emerging Market. Kun Kittipong Asawa Pichayon, Area Vice President and Managing Director, Salesforce Thailand. Kun Edwin Diender, Chief Innovation Officer, Global Electric Power Digitalization Business Unit, Huawei Technologies Company Limited. Could you please share your thoughts to our audience about how digital technology can contribute to sustainable future?
Thank you very much for this opportunity to describe some of the many things we're doing inside SAP. For us, sustainability is a major focus, really from our CEO down to the whole organization, because we see our customers saying to us, we want you to do more. We want you to give us more ideas of how we can become more sustainable. And so we take our sustainability into 3 areas. We think of it as zero emissions, so climate action. We think of it as zero waste in terms of circular economy. And the third one is zero harm or inequality. So we want to look after the people. So we think of it in those 3 dimensions, and we do all our activities around those 3 dimensions. So those are 3 key topics that we have is zero emissions, zero waste, and zero inequality.
At Microsoft, we have a very strong mission and a strong aim to be carbon neutral and also to offset the carbon negative in very short years within 2030 and also 2050. We also want to have an innovation to help us monitor how the world has omitted the carbon and also to contribute to the world. We also having the technologies to help us reduce travel in terms of, as you know, when we travel, we contribute to the carbon emission. We have HoloLens technology that could help the business to do the remote service, for example. So instead of travel from a place to one place and conduct some of the services, these technologies from HoloLens could help them to do the remote services or even to do the remote assistance sessions. So the technologies today that at Microsoft we showcase and demonstrate at our booth will demonstrate how HoloLens and this technology could help to conduct the service. Instead of traveling to the place, we can complete the service within the remote session. And with technologies from HoloLens, we can do it in the very simultaneously experience to the field.
Tencent always think about the sustainability, right? Develop with the very keen or cutting-edge technologies. We think about the ecological, economical, and social sustainability. So, right, technology, they have the 2 opposite way, right? One thing is technology always make our life is better. Convenient life, right? Nowadays, we can live in this world and we can use a lot of convenient things by the technologies. But in the other hand, right, we have to pay a huge cost for the carbon consumption. Right? National resource consumption may no be longer available for the future generation if we can consume everyday usage like this. From today perspectively, we must use the technology to develop the way of the resource of use to reduce the consumption and make the sustainable and save the natural resource and aim for the net zero emissions. Okay, reduce the carbon emission is the first step. From the power plants and the fossil fuel industry must be reduced as close as possible to be zero.
First of all, I'd like to highlight that sustainability has really shot up, right, to the top of the CEO agenda. Right, so CEOs understand that sustainability is about future competitiveness, right? That investors, consumers, employees, and other stakeholders all expect sustainability to be a key part of a company's strategy, right? So it's really at the top of the agenda for the C-level. And then digital and data, right, are a key enabler, right, for then both more sustainable operations and enabling new solutions and propositions. So it's all about enabling new insights, enabling new experience, value propositions, enabling new ways to interact that are more efficient. If I look through a bit of the types of opportunities, right, it starts, of course, with the ability to track and monitor ESG-related data, right? So we understand how we're doing, what the opportunities for improvement are, from a reporting, performance management perspective to empower everyone to make the right decisions. But then sustainability, right, also means thinking about responsible sourcing, responsible value chain, right, meaning understanding ESG considerations around all our suppliers and our supply chain. And so this, again, is all powered by technology, right? Visibility on the information, ability to track across the whole value chain, etc. Same thing in terms of enabling new customer behaviors, right? So for example, presenting augmented information that would enable a consumer to shop, right? To make his or her shopping decisions in a way that are aligned to his or her values, changing the ways people interact. So this is all, of course, again, enabled, right, by digital solutions, right? Similarly, from a sales support perspective, ability to train people remotely through metaverse related or digital twin solutions, and also optimizing the core of our operations, right? Through concepts like digital twin that enable us to model different scenarios, ability to drive efficiency in our buildings and real estate, etc. Right, so digital technology really is at the core of enabling all of this, but it also means there's another side to consider, right? Because as we have more and more IT and technology, then IT-related emissions, right, in themselves have shot up and continue to rise, right? So IT greenhouse gas emissions, rise about 9 to 10% a year, and if it were a country, IT would be the world's 5th biggest greenhouse gas emitter as such, right? So which means we also need to think through then how we deploy our IT, right? So that's from moving to cloud and driving efficiency there, to optimizing our IT infrastructure, data retention policies, these types of things, even paying attention to the way we code, right? To also just optimize the efficiency and the sustainability of our IT operations as such.
I would say that technologies is one of the very key, right, equipment and tools that all people over the world is actually using and going to use more and more, right, in the very near future, because, we are moving to a digital transformation, a digital world, a data era, where actually, data is the center of everything that helps us drive the business success. And having said that, when we use more technologies, we have to think through it from the production kind of thought process, how we're going to manage, the waste after we end up using them, right? So I think we have to think through it thoroughly, right? So from designing the product, use the product, and also, dispose the product after use. So technology is so important. I'm not sure you know that nowadays, up to last year, right, the e-waste, the electronic waste is weighed equivalent to the weight of China Great Wall. So that's, how bad it is. If we are not making a difference today, that's going to create a very, very big impact to our world in the future. And you can experience today, right? The environment keep changing. We have more rain, we have more heat wave, attack many, many places of the world, flooding and so on and so forth. And that is so because of the climate change. Sustainability is a very key strategy that all tech company. I don't want to say that just tech company. Everyone in the world should now consider as a key direction of the company.
From the company point of view, Salesforce actually seen this as one of the necessity. We set this as the target that we want to achieve. From 2022, we have defined this as the objective of the organization, right? And we also have include sustainability and equality as our corporate value, right? So by end of last year, we basically achieved the net zero objective, right? So we have done many things, right? We drive for the 100% renewable energy in our operation. And for the area that we cannot remove or reduce the emission, we basically invest on the carbon credit to net off those carbon emissions, right? So as a company, we build the technology, right? Using internally, we call it Net Zero Cloud, right? So we use that in order to measure where we are in terms of the current footprint of carbon emission. At the same time, we set the target, right? Which we align with the world science-based target, right? To achieve not more than 1.5 Celsius, right? So that's what we have stick to, right? And we have done so many things. By end of last year, as mentioned, right? We achieved that target. And now we would like to bring this technology and our experience in this area to work with the corporate all over the world, right, in driving towards this objective. Now, we think this is not the emission of one or two organizations. It's for everybody to work together. Now, as a company who is the world leading CRM company, right, we are actually specialized in collaborating with our customer and our supplier, right? So we are using that capability to expand into this area where we collaborate with all the organization in our supply chain, trying to drive down the carbon emission, right? So that's our mission, right? And not just technology, right? We believe that there are also other areas that we have to plan and work together. So we define things called climate action plan, which you all could download from our website, right? And those are something which is beyond technology, right? We are talking about 6 priorities that we have to do, right? The first 2 is actually something that you are familiar with. The first one is to reduce the carbon emission, right? Each operation have their own challenge, right? So we'll start with internal organization, how to reduce the carbon emission. Second is actually the removal of emission, which I have mentioned previously, that we actually invest on the carbon credit. We buy those carbon credit to net off the emission of the organization. The third one, I think we have to look back in the nature, right? How to restore the environment where we could help the world to have a better environment. We see the change in the forest in the world, right? We have 6 trillion trees, which have been reduced to 3 trillion trees, right? So with World Economic Forum, we join hand on the project called 1t.org, which will plant 1 trillion tree, right? But for Salesforce, we actually set a target for 100 million trees by 2030. By now, we already have achieved 40 million trees worldwide, right? And not just on the forest, we also look at the ocean, right? Which is one of the main source that could help to bring back the good environment. So we have put investment on the research in that area as well, right? Now, the fourth one would be the knowledge of our people, right? As an individual, usually we will feel that we are powerless. We cannot do anything different, right? As one individual. So from Salesforce point of view, we believe business is actually a greatest platform for change, right? So we would like us to together, right, enable or actually let our employee know how they could contribute in this space, right? So we try to encourage the organization to enable their employee, right? And then they can also enable their family to take action to help all this change, make it happen, right? And on the fourth one, we are talking about investment, right? So we invest in the ecopreneur, where these organizations or startup company, they put the investment on the new technology that could help reduce greenhouse gas emission, right? So we select the company that we want to invest and support them so that they have capability to innovate and bring the new technology to the world so that everyone could work together to develop and bring back the good environment for our future generation, right? And the last one, we believe that business is actually very powerful, and all the business sector leader, right? We can set in the policy definition, or we can influence the country or the organization in each country to define the action, solid action that we could drive towards the net zero initiative, right? So these are the 6 priority, which I believe is actually applied to all the country, right? And welcome for everyone to look at this report that we already published in our website, right? So that's the belief from Salesforce as a company, and we are actually continue this, and our CEO is actually the person who really believe on this, and we hope we can bring our expertise and what we have done in other country, right, to work with the organization in Thailand. Now, globally, we are working with the world leading organization, like for example, MasterCard and AT&T, in driving this and in the tangible way, right, and work with their supply chain to drive down or reduce the carbon emission.
Thank you again for the invitation and for the opportunity to share our vision and our thoughts. And not only that, but also some practical cases as we've presented and as we've shown at the Sustainable Expo. First of all, the things that we think are very important that are driving and that are helping sustainability is, of course, new and innovative ICT and digital technologies for 2 main reasons. First of all, of course, digital has the power to calculate, to compute, and to process information much faster and from many different domains. That means we are earlier on in the value chain able to address opportunities and understand the impact of these opportunities if we would like to embark on a transformation journey or a journey for change or an upgrade or a migration from a technology point of view, that is. But from an environmental point of view, that is also very instrumental. The way how digital technologies are helping and optimizing the efficiency in daily operations in many different examples, for example, manufacturing, education, healthcare, but also in the energy industry, which is my background and where I'm part of, oil and gas, exploration and production, distribution, electricity networks. The power of digital to help do better what we already do best is a core component and makes it sustainable. So these 2 parts we think are very important to address, and which were also part of my speech.
Which technology that you brought to display in Sustainability Expo 2022 and how it enhanced in creating the better community?
So here we have these 3 topics. So for us, when we look at zero emissions with climate action, what we do is we look at how we measure what a company is doing from a pollution perspective, okay, from an emissions perspective. Because what we see happening is we know how to manage all our other pollution, but we don't do very much for our air pollution yet. And so there are a few areas here. The first is, how does the company measure all of its pollution at the company level, at the big macro level? And that means measuring the electricity you use, the heating you use, the cooling you use, how much pollution you create. It becomes more complex when you are buying materials from somebody else, because you need to take into account what is the carbon footprint of those materials. But a good place to really start is your own emissions, okay? And then the next piece of it is companies are starting to ask, what is the emissions in your product? So in the product level. So if you know, when you go to the supermarket, you see a food item and it has nutrition value on the back. So much sodium, energy, blah, 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 blah. Now, what we see companies saying is, can you tell me how much greenhouse gas was created to generate this product? So we have to provide solutions for companies to do this. Because when companies are buying materials or buying goods now, they not only want to know what is the price, what is the technical specifications, when can you deliver it, but they want to know what is the greenhouse gas in this product. Because that is part of the comparison that they will make, because it comes to the much bigger picture that says companies want to have a net zero. So they want to aim for net zero emissions, or they want to aim for a balanced. Okay, they will buy offsets, and so they will get carbon neutral. But one of the things they have to know is what their emissions are, and also what the products are that they're buying. So it also influences the procurement process. So those are two topics that we will talk about at the booth in terms of climate action. We also have electric vehicles. So to how to do electric vehicles, the software part of it, the managing of your electric vehicle. Where do you find a charging station? How do we send you a bill? That part of it. And then the other part, which is really interesting from an emissions perspective, is your employee travel, because employee travel creates a carbon footprint. So whether it's catching a taxi to another customer or it's actually catching a flight somewhere, that's a carbon footprint. And we were talking to a large international bank last week. And one of the things that they were saying is they will give their managers who run a budget for their team not only a financial budget, but they will start giving them a carbon budget that you have to meet. So this is all part of moving towards zero emissions and climate action. The next piece is the circular economy. And what we're trying to help companies do there is to move away from the, create, use, dispose, because that model isn't sustainable anymore. And so what it's about is how to actually help organizations actually reuse or repurpose once you've finished using it. And there are a number of things there that we're doing. And one of them is around packaging. Because what we see in Europe at the moment, and the UK starting already from the 1st of April, is packaging taxes. So where you have to know exactly how much plastic is in a material and the packaging and the shipping, because you have to pay taxes on that. But you also have to know how much of that is recycled, because now it's very important to differentiate between plastic with no recycled input and plastic with recycled input, because it's treated differently. So that is one of the pieces for circular economy. And then there's other pieces in circular economy is around the procurement process. So we put procurement under circular economy, because companies also want to know from a procurement perspective, who am I buying from? Not only what is the goods that I'm buying, but what is the behavior of the people I'm buying from? This company that I'm buying this material, are they a good citizen? So it's not only price anymore. The environment is an extra lens that we look at everything through. So procurement is one. So does this company have a good sustainability rating? Or do they have a bad sustainability rating? Because I want to deal with companies who are not only providing good products, but who are doing it in a way that is not polluting as much as somebody else. Okay, so that's we see the procurement process changing. And then when we look at the last one here, this zero inequality or social responsibility, this is all about the people. So what we're looking at here is, how do we keep people safe with the work environment? How do we manage chemicals in the work environment? Because it's about safety as well. How do we manage waste? Because again, waste is a very important part that you need to manage well, and you cannot, we cannot just keep throwing it on the rubbish heap. It has to be reused. And then we have people management. And managing our people is very important, because what we're finding generally coming out of the pandemic is there's a shortage of people, and there's a shortage of skilled people. I had a really interesting update from my wife. She went to visit her parents, and so she flew there. So she said what was fascinating is the person checking her in was obviously new, and she wanted some complicated things done. And the person said, I don't know how to do this. And so she had to ask her colleague. And then when she was actually getting on the plane, she had something else that was happening. And the person said, no, you can't do this. And she said, no, I know you can. And so what we're seeing is a lot of new people in the workplace. And that also means not only in these safe work environments, but we also have more people, new people in our unsafe work environments, our factories, doing maintenance, working on electricity or steam. And so we have to make sure that we have processes that keep our people safe. And we have to keep making sure that that is very important. Not only we say it's important, but we do it's important. And then on the people side, it's managing our people. Do we have diversity? Do we have age diversity? How do we making sure that we having, equal treatment? How are we enabling our people? How are we training our people? Because that's a really important part. Because if we say, for example, that governance is important to us, we need to be able to say not only governance is important, we need to make sure that everybody is trained in governance, that we have that culture coming into our companies. But I came across two examples of companies doing interesting things that really changed the way they do it. So one was Mohawk. They're a global flooring company. They make carpets and floors. And one of the things they were saying is that they said in one of their production facilities, they have zero waste. There is no waste from this facility at all, zero. So what it means is that in the production process, any byproduct goes into a container that is then either fed back into the process or it is sold or given to somebody. They said the employees may not bring single-use plastics. They cannot bring their lunch. They have to take their containers back with them. They cannot dispose them in the facility. So if you have that thinking already, then it starts to change how you do your job. And the other interesting one was I came across a Globe. They're a telco company in the Philippines. So they had a policy of bringing no single-use plastics into their head office. So you think about that. That means, when you go out for lunch, you cannot go and buy your lunch in a single-use plastic container and bring it to the office. You cannot bring a drinks bottle. And so when you think about that, it's actually implementing these policies that you now start to drive change. So we think about these three things that we're doing in these three dimensions. We also talk about how you now bring this data together and aggregate it, because the company wants to not only see financial aggregation like that we've been doing for a while, but we want to see the aggregation of all our activities from a sustainability perspective. And these are then how we then look at it from the holistic perspective and drive the actions back into these operating processes here in the climate action, circular economy, social responsibility. So that's the main pieces that we'll be talking about at our booth, is how companies can actually achieve their sustainability goals. Thank you.
The technologies from Microsoft, as I mentioned earlier, HoloLens will be a very key technologies that could help reduce a lot of travels, reduce a lot of workload and preparations of the team. For example, an engineer has to go to the on-site services. Instead of for them to travel from one place to the field, he can wear this HoloLens and he can experience and fixing the units, servicing the equipment remotely as well. And also from technologies from Microsoft, we enable this as sustainable education, providing the best experience of students or even in the K-12 level or in the higher education level to have a very real experience through HoloLens technologies. So students can study in the various fields, for example, doctor field, or even in the engineering field. They can study this from the HoloLens and experience the simulations of the 3D modeling of the real experience of that. So this could help us enable the new way of learning and also sustainable educations as well. So to answer to your questions, that we contribute this to the sustainabilities, this is part of the technologies that Microsoft we have. Other than that, we also have Microsoft Cloud for sustainability solutions as well that could help the business to monitor how the emissions of carbon or CO2 or the emissions of the carbon to the world. That is part of our technologies and solutions as well. As you have already visited our booth and experienced our technologies, you can feel that these technologies has come to life. And also we have a very strong use case in both educations, government and hospital as well, not just only in the manufacturing industry.
So, okay, let me start it one by one. Because of the one thing, we think about the building, the technology of the buildings. The number one, because of building is our heart of our life. We use building in every day of life, right? We have to think about how to maintain and how to use the energy in the buildings, right? Reduce the carbon emission in the building is the key of technology. We can think about this one. So Tencent, we introduced our IoT platform. We call our product is a wireless, the building platform. We can use the devices in the building connected together, right? For the data control of the energy consumption of the building and they connect all the technology together. Right in the building, we have the elevator, we have the escalator, we have a lot of the lightings and conditionings, right? How we can connect it together and how we have the platform to control all the data together is one certain thinking. This platform is very important for the building of our life. Many various of IoT device of the building should be connected together, and we can visibility how the consumption is, and we can adopt all the usage by the value of the usage scenario in the building. What the consumption is and how we can reduce and optimize it is the very important to make the power consumption efficiently in the building. After we can see our visibility, our platform can collect all the data and visualize that is why the data is, and we can know how we can reduce it. That is our platform number one. And the number two, if we think about more city, Tencent, we have a lot of experience, many 10 years, right? We have AI technologies, especially in the image processing. In the events, we present that the Tencent Cloud Smart Video Analysis Platform, we call SVAP. That is our AI capability. It's one of the AI capability for the Tencent. We do the facial recognitions, we do a lot of things, but this one will help a lot of people in the city, in the environments, more convenience and more safely. And especially in the environment, we can reduce and we can make the environments clean. How we can work is in the situation of the video, right? We can send alert and alarm. We can capture all the video in the city. Okay, what is the use case is, for example, in the junk, in the liver, normally we use a CCTV for the monitoring for the security, for the some kind of the facial recognition already. The same CCTV, we can stream the traffic. We can stream the picture to analytics. Where is the junk is? We can monitoring all the liver or the canals in the city. Is where the junk is. And we can do the predictive, right? If the junk is a lot of junk, we can optimize the people. We can do the preventive to reduce the junk in the liver or in the canal in the city. That is one of our cutting edge technology by the AI, by image processing. we can understand what type of the junk is and where the junk is and how we can manage the junk in the city. Our technology is the can send alarm to our platform. It can send alarm to the responsible people to make sure that there are some response of the junk to be handled of the technologies in parallel work, right, with the security work. We can do the environment to make sure that the junk or our environment is always clean and don't have to disrupt in our life work. Okay, this can make the one of the starting things to be the smart city, to be the life is better by the smart city. Another thing is to go to more bigger ones, right? The third one that we presented in the event is the big picture of the city level. Tencent, we have the 3D rendering. We were very professionals in the image processing already. We call the smart city platform, right? That is make sure that we can do the digital twins. Okay, digital twin is mean we copy the physical city to the digital one together. Okay, our technologies, we can rendering all the city by to be the 3D dimension. After 3D dimension happen, we can integrate that in the number one technology and number two technology and present it in 3D dimensions. It's make sure that the people can easy to understand where is the sensor is, where is the problem is. And also our 3D renderings, we call Tencent Ray Data Visualization Interactive System. It can show the real-time data in the 3D. It can make sure that, okay, this building, what is happening? How many cars around this area, what is happening, what is the bus is, and how crowded people are. So all the administrative people, right, can easily understand, right? They can make sure that, can make the simulation of the city. In this case scenario, what is happening? In this case scenario, what is happening? In our technology can help the people, can help the administrative, can quickly spot in the critical city issue in the real time. Not in the spot in the city, right? But can spot and predictive and can see what is the real situation is. Okay, and they can optimize and can be the more performance in the very big picture, and they can solve the problem on the time. This technology can help the people to be the better life and can help the environment is also can be the very good life, not only the convenience, but more sustainability in your life also.
We have one of the things that we brought is a metaverse, right? So there's been a lot of hype on metaverse with regards to new experiences. It enables new solutions, etc. But at the core, metaverse really also enables a lot of different ways of thinking about things as well, right? So to take some examples, I mean, of course, metaverse enables meaningful interactions in a virtual world, right? Which means less need to travel, hence less emissions, etc. Right? But it also has the potential to create immersive learning experiences, for example, and lead to opportunities also in rural areas, for example, right? If there's no physical classrooms from a learning perspective. So, meaning there's then a lot of opportunities with regards to immersive learning, right? So, I mean, if I take an analogy, for example, we've trained airline pilots for a long time already on flight simulators, right? Because of safety considerations. I mean, these pilots are learning how to fly, but then also wider efficiency and sustainability considerations, right? So the reality is that now we're enabling this kind of immersive learning experience for any industry, right? It can be how to operate complicated machinery, or it can be about enabling, right, really an interesting and immersive learning experience for the more general population as well. That's a bit from a learning perspective. And then I would also highlight the operational perspective, right? So metaverse and digital twin type concept really enable us to better monitor and understand risk by running different scenarios, different models, and drive really the opportunities to drive efficiencies, right, across our operations, right? So that's something that we're displaying, and yeah, as I mentioned, there's different considerations or prongs, right, in terms of then the value of those solutions. Well, so I think that's a key anchor, and then I think there's also some insight in terms of also the perception of sustainability, right, at the C level. So we've been collaborating closely with UNGC, United Nations Global Compact, over a number of years, running a CEO survey across all geographies. And I think it's quite insightful, some of the things we see there, right? With regards to the changing attitudes, with regards to sustainability, and the extent to which, the C-level, right, is really now taking this as a key priority, including in growth markets, right? So in our part of the world as well, right, we really see companies, focusing very clearly on that. And over time, as we look over the years, what's very important also is there's actually data that shows that companies that prioritize sustainability considerations and put it at the core of their strategy outperform, right, their peers over time, right? So sustainability is about true competitiveness and real value for both companies and the wider society. Okay, so in the event, we covered some of the elements of, setting the stage, right, of the importance of sustainability at the C-level, and the types of initiatives that companies are taking on that road. So what are they investing in? What are some of the key priorities? What are still some of the blockers as well, right? So sharing some of the insights from that CEO survey that we've been running over 10, 15 years together with United Nations Global Compact, and linked to that some of the insights, right, of the trends we see, the top priorities, and how companies are approaching this, as well as what companies are asking from wider stakeholders, and also creating the right kind of like regulatory environment and clarity to enable them to take these decisions, which are all long-term decisions.
Before I answer that, I just want to share a little bit on the bigger picture. Dell Technologies, we set up our Moonshot Goal plan, which is the plan regarding to the social impact that we set our target up to the year 2030s and also beyond the year 2030s. How are we going to make the better world for all of us here? There's a many pillars in that Moonshot Goal. One of it is sustainability, and we have like the goal within year 2030 that every packaging that we have for our product has to be made from recycled and renewable by 100%, right? And also the material inside our equipment, our products have to be made from recycled and renewable material as well. And actually another big mission is that we want to bring back the product that we sold, one-to-one, right, to the recycle process. For example, if we sell a 10 million PC or notebook, we want to bring back a 10 million PC and notebook, any brand, right, to recycle process, right? And that is our big mission. And also we look through to the year 2050 that, we will be a net zero emission company as well. So regarding to your question, right, we use the first pillar, which is the sustainability as a key. And we bring some of the example as a showcase in yours even as well. For example, we showcase on the packaging. I'm not sure you heard about the ocean plastic. Ocean plastic is that a campaign where we're trying to collect back a plastic, any kind of plastic, like bottle or packaging, so on and so forth, before it's actually get through the sea and, be a pollution for all of us here, right? So we bring that back in the recycle process and use that material for our packaging and also part of our product as well. And, we showcase those solutions in your event. I just want to say that, bring back the recycle and take the material to the production is not that easy. It requires a lot of, ambition, collaboration from all parties. And also a lot of R&D, right, to ensure that the material that used is, comparable to the other material we used before. But this is for, sustainability. So we also having some product showcase. For example, one of our product like Latitude 7330 Ultralight is one of its kind that actually we use a new concept of utilizing the recycled and renewable material in our product as well, and also the XPS. I think that is something that, we want the customer and the attendees, to see how important that everyone has to focus on the recycled renewable material for sustainability. I think another big issue that we are all facing today is cybersecurity. I'm not sure you heard or you have a chance to look at our recent survey. We actually survey through, the work. I mean, this is the largest global survey we ever have, right? We survey through about 10,000 executive, professional workers, everyone, right, in organization across 40 plus countries to understand the key element of the organization today that moving to the digital world. One of the survey is asking about the cybersecurity concern. So the result is that 79% of them, right, actually share their concern and worry that, when the world moving to more digital, when the workplace is go more hybrid with greater connectivity, devices, so on and so forth, they have high chance to having more risk exposure on the cyber attack, right? So that is a big thing, right? So, but the problem is that most of the people, especially employee, not aware. They know this is a problem, but they're not aware that they also play a big part to protect an organization, right? To protect the credibility of an organization by protecting the cybersecurity. So in your event, right, actually we put the gamification, right, for people who want to know how they are benchmarking against the others, right? So when it comes to the security awareness, so they just play a few games there, and then we credit them, right, how good they are, in security awareness. I think this is a basic fundamental. Another thing, that we realize that the weakest links, right, in all organizations is actually insider, right? So we have to make sure that employee fully aware this is phishing, right? This is do and done, how they can protect the company asset, which is data, right? The best as they can by ensuring that they're aware of the cybersecurity issue and how they should play that role.
For what we have shown at the SX 2022, right, we have two areas of technology that we showcase in the event. The first one is what I have mentioned earlier, what Salesforce has developed called Net Zero Cloud, right? We are using that to showcase that as an organization, we need to have the tools, right, for the organization and different part of our business unit and also our ecosystem to put the right data and consolidate it into the single source of truth so that our business leader could view it from our dashboard and see where we are in terms of our footprint. So basically to measure where we are in terms of the carbon emission and trying to set the right action, right, to drive down all these emissions, right, and also to track the progress of each initiative, right. So that's actually the dashboard on the Net Zero Cloud that we showcase in the event, right. So it actually cover all the different scope of the net zero. The first one is the scope 1, which is the internal generation of the carbon emission, right? And the second one is the scope 2, which is on the indirect generation. It's like, for example, when you purchase the power from external organization, right? Those could be consolidated into this dashboard. And the third one is the scope 3, which is the tracking of the whole supply chain and collaborating with the other organization, be it our customer or our supplier, right? Trying to look at our current emission and then set the right action to drive towards our objective, right? Now, on this, we also encourage that the company who is actually participating in this environment demonstrate their commitment, right? And then register using the science-based target to commit to external that this is what organization should do, right? So this is what we have encouraged our customer and our supplier to work together on that, right? And as I mentioned, this is not just technology which has not approved, right? We have used it internally and we have worked with our customer leading organization in the world. So hopefully we can bring that to your organization as well. Now that's the number one, right? Number two, we actually try to apply the technology with our local partner in the telehealth area, right? So we work with the IoT company for the medical industry. We call it IOMT, right? Internet of Medical Things, to collect the vital sign from people who actually can live in the rural area. Usually there are gaps of these people to access to doctor and healthcare expertise, right, to provide them the right treatment, and also to help reducing the carbon emission from the transportation, because they can stay at home and the doctor can stay wherever they are throughout the country. Everyone can collaborate over the digital technology, right, where the vital sign will be sent to the doctor who handle that case, and the doctor could be the person who the generalist, and they may need the support from other specialists, right? So they can collaborate on the secure environment where the data of the vital sign would be protected. And we have the standard called HIPAA FIRE, right? So this is the standard we align to. And we use technology, which is the collaborative environment called Slack from Salesforce, right? To provide all this collaborative environment, right? And using the partner solution, which is AI-driven collaborative care to help these patients in the rural area, right? And provide the right recommendation for the treatment, right? So we have these two solutions. The first one is Net Zero Cloud. Second one is this telehealth environment. We believe it would increase the equality for people to access to the healthcare in the country, and not just Thailand, right? I think it's globally, because I believe that there will be a lot of people who still have no reach or no access to the right healthcare treatment, right? And also to manage all the emission from the transportation, because now you can stay wherever you are and access to the doctor and get the right recommendation from there, right? So these are things that we have showcased in the event, right? We think it makes sense for our country, and hopefully we can work with our partner and customer here to apply it to bring the equality and also sustainability to this country.
We brought a few things to the Sustainability Expo. We brought what you could see that was visible at our booth area. What we also brought is what you could unlock with that. And what I mean by that is, I will explain that in a minute. The first thing that we brought is the experience sharing that we have in our global footprint in supporting our customers and our partners worldwide with their digital journey, their energy transition, and using digital technology in their daily operations to help them do better what they already do best. One of the things that we brought, for example, is an intelligent, connected inverter that connects not only to the power grid, but also to, for example, solar panels. What you didn't see, because we didn't bring it, but that's because it's already there, is that what makes it intelligent is that it can be connected to applications that run on mobile platforms. This is not what you see. This is what you use. So what we also had on show is the ability to open up an application on one of our smartphones, or maybe even your own smartphone. And with your application, you can log on to your own solar panels or your own solar network or your charging infrastructure, or whatever it is that you have that relates to energy consumption, energy generation, energy awareness. And the combination of all these things combined, again, gives us more awareness, gives us more insight into where and how energy is flowing and how energy can be used, but also how we can save on energy or how we can store energy. Because the third component that we brought, this was physical again, is an energy storage solution, a battery pack that can hold the energy for the time that is needed. For example, in the evening or when there is not bright lights and your solar panels do not generate as much energy, then you can use and fall back on an energy storage system. This is also what we brought. So in a holistic view, in a holistic way, we brought on-site and off-site, online and offline, energy storage, energy management, energy distribution, and energy generation in one package. And we believe that that is a good example of how to be sustainable. A piece maybe to close this off with regards to my speech. My speech was about how energy transition and digital transformation or digital technology are tapping into carbon neutrality. And the whole world is embarking on this journey. What it means is that there is two tracks that are going towards or following the same journey. That's not exactly how I tried to present it. What I tried to present was that energy transition and digital transformation with carbon neutrality are three gears of the same engine that is driving the digital journey. The journey that is sustainable, the journey that will create a lower carbon footprint, and a journey that will create a brighter and greener future. That makes it sustainable for living environments, that makes it sustainable for people, flora and fauna, and everything on Earth, so to speak. But what it also does, it makes it sustainable and viable for economics and for geographies and what have you, urban development and social development. I think those are the three key points that we wanted to get across and that I tried to explain in my speech. Three gears of the same engine that are driving this sustainability journey.
We would like to thank you, our audience, for being with us. If you like to learn more from the thought leader, you may visit worldwideweopentech.com. And please don't forget to click like, share, and subscribe to TCC Technology YouTube channel. See you in our next Open Talk. สวัสดีค่ะ